Barnes, who was supposed to be here tonight. He was under the weather. And apparently earlier this week when Mayor Barajas started calling around, I was the only one that answered the phone. So you're stuck with me tonight. For you that do not know me, my name is Colby Gwid. I am the general manager for the Jurupa Area Recreation and Park District. And I am, thank you, appreciate that. And I am also a resident of Jurupa Valley. I'd like to welcome Mayor Barajas, Mayor Pro Tem Altamirano, Councilmember Silva, Councilmember Barajas Bisbee, and Councilmember Berkson. So thank you for being here tonight. We'd also like to thank our regional and county elected officials and their representatives for joining us tonight, as well as the city's partners, including the Jurupa Unified School District, the Rubidoux Community Services District, Jurupa Area Recreation and Park District, the Jurupa Community Services District, and the Jurupa Valley community members and stakeholders. And we'd also look. And we'd also like to welcome those joining us online tonight, as this is being live streamed on the city website. All right, we also do have this available tonight in Spanish. If anybody is needing those services, the devices are back at the table when you checked in. We'd like to begin tonight's ceremony with an invocation from Pastor Rios. Pastor Rios, I just saw him, there we go. Pastor Rios has been a pastor for 15 years and currently serves at the Nueva Esperanza Church in Jurupa Valley. He's happily married to his wife of 32 years and father to 4 children. Please join us in welcoming Pastor Rios to the stage tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, Master. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you of the mayor of the city with all members of the council and to all organizations that collaborate so we can live to joy and peace. So thank you very much. And it's just an honor to represent Iglesia Nueva Esperanza of Jurupa Valley as the pastor. Along with the congregation, we pray a lot for our community. And I'm excited to this opportunity to do so with you today on this State of the City event. Let's pray. Almighty God, holy and merciful God, we want to thank you for your blessing this city, this community, for giving us health, skills, strong to move forward. Thank you for the government to you, God, have given us, for authority of the sheriff department, allowing to live safely, for the firefighters, hospitals, schools, and churches, the places that take care of their children, the different organizations to seek the welfare of the community, the recreational and sport parks, for the business to help grow the city economy, for all the world that allows to collaborate to bring food to our homes. Thank you very much. We are grateful to you, God, for all you have provided to this day. God, give us your blessing over the plans and projects to this city has. Jurupa Valley is growing now, and we need your blessing and your direction through your scripture and the vision to you have a place in our city leaders. May all glory, honor, and power be to you, God, in the Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Rios. If everybody could please stand and join me for the presentation in colors by the Riverside County Sheriff's Department Honor Guard, and Pledge of Allegiance be led by Lieutenant Jason Sexton.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem from Celia Bello from Rubidoux High School.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Thank you, Lieutenant Sexton, our honor guard, and Cecilia for helping us honor our country. I want to jump to closing remark next, sorry. The State of the City address is not just an opportunity for celebration, but it's an opportunity to review some of the most important things that are going on within our community over the past year, and how the city is preparing for the future. Tonight, Mayor Barajas will be talking about a community of communities. We'll hear about our accomplishments of the city, current initiatives and opportunities for new development, our growing economy, and the progress taking place every day in Jurupa Valley. I'm just going to share with you guys. You can see a lot of big green squares up there. Those are parks. We have a lot of parks coming. Mayor Barajas is probably not going to talk about that, though. But I'm going to take the opportunity to share that one for you. Before we hear from Mr. Barajas, I have the honor of inviting onto the stage City Manager Rod Butler. Mr. Butler has been a city manager for the city of Jurupa Valley since 2019. He has over 30 years experience in local government and has served as city manager for the cities of Crescent City, Patterson, Upland, and Point Hueneme. Thank you, Mr. Butler.
Thank you. Thank you, Colby. Before you get to hear from the mayor tonight, I get to tell you a little bit about Chris Barajas and his life and how he got to become the mayor of Jurupa Valley. Chris is a California native and has lived most of his life in Jurupa Valley. Growing up in the Pedley area of Jurupa Valley, Chris had the great experience of riding horses and raising livestock. He eventually made his way to the Jurupa Hills area, where he now lives with his wife, who's a teacher in the Jurupa Unified School District, and their two daughters. Chris graduated from Jurupa Valley High School, and newsflash, Chris tomorrow, and I believe Saturday, is going to be inducted into the Jurupa Valley High School Hall of Fame. We just found out. I didn't know there was a Hall of Fame before a few months ago, but Chris is going to be one of the new inductees, and we're proud of him for that. After Jurupa Valley High School, he went on to earn an Associate of Arts in Business Management from Riverside City College. And from there, he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Management with a concentration in cybersecurity and also a Master of Science in Business Intelligence from Cal State San Bernardino. I mentioned the other night that if there's ever a marketable degree right now, that's a great degree to have, as know so much about cybersecurity. And of course, Chris works in his day job. When he's not serving as mayor, he works in the commercial business software industry for a company that does a lot of work for the business logistics industry throughout the nation. Anyone that knows Chris knows that he's very active in the community. He's currently the regional commissioner of Jurupa AYSO, Region 462. And they provide a great soccer experience for many of our youth here in Jurupa Valley. He also had the privilege during that AYSO role of coaching both of his daughters' teams in AYSO. Chris also serves and has been very involved with the Jurupa District Lions Club. Any Lions members here tonight? All right. Great. He's actually the past president of the Lions Club and continues to be a very active member. The Lions Club serve the Jurupa Valley community in a number of ways, many ways, such as providing meals for city events at no cost and providing vision screenings for those in need, among many other services. Just in closing, I would say as a city manager, a city staff person, that one of the things we were really impressed by about Chris is, in addition to all of his kind of bread and butter day-to-day mayor's responsibilities, he's very active in regional organizations promoting Jurupa Valley's interests in those organizations. July 1st of next year, he will take over as the chair of the Western Riverside Council of Governments Board of Directors, which is a really important regional role. I believe he'll be the first Jurupa Valley council member in our young 11-year history who has ever served in that role. And it's really important. They make a lot of important decisions about transportation funding and projects and a lot of other regional programs. So again, we're excited about that. And then I think you'll be hearing about this during Chris's presentation, but he's also been really a driving force over the last couple of years for a project that we're all excited about. And that would be to basically build from scratch a trade tech center. It's called the Inland Empire Trade Tech Center, which we believe will be located in Jurupa Valley. And it'll be, maybe some of you that have lived in LA County or know of LA Trade Tech, which is a really top-notch trade technical school. We don't really have anything like that in the Inland Empire right now, but it's looking better each day and each month that we're going to have a facility like that, and it will be located here in Jurupa Valley. And Chris has just been huge in pushing for that, for some of the initial funding, working with our elected officials, working with the school district, Riverside Community College District, which will kind of be the lead on this new campus. But you'll hear more about that from the mayor. So I'm going to stop talking and bring up the mayor, and you're going to hear a lot of good stuff about projects going on in Jurupa Valley. What I do.
Thank you, Rod. All right, clicker, everything. Well, hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for joining us for this 2022 State of the City. Whether you're online or here in person, this is an exciting time for our city, and I'm glad that you're all here to share in it. As you know, some of you may, in case you don't know, you haven't heard it already, I am Chris Barajas, currently serving as the mayor and have the honor of serving all of our residents in Jurupa Valley. And I did want to recognize the hardworking members of our city commissions and committees, going from the Planning Commission to the Community Development Advisory Committee and our newly formed Public Works Advisory Committee. For those that may not be aware, we used to have a Traffic Safety Committee, and we've recently converted it to a Public Works where they still have traffic in their purview, but now they're looking at more things as we continue to work to improve and enhance the quality of life for all our residents. So if you ever have any issues with traffic like that, please go on our website. You can start requesting information and requesting studies. And again, in our continuing effort to enhance and improve the quality of life for all our residents. So please, a round of applause for everyone who serves in our communities. These are all residents who live here, are your neighbors, are your friends. So if you see them, go on our website. You can see who they are. If you see them on the street, talk to them. They're more than happy to talk to you. I know to not be redundant, but I will recognize my council members because they are, we are a team. No single council member can do anything alone. And I want to make sure that we recognize Mayor Pro Tem Leslie Altamirano. Show where you're at. Councilmember Brian Berkson, Councilmember Lorena Barajas Bisbee, and Councilmember Guillermo Silva. As with any board here in Jurupa Valley, whether it's the school board, parks board, water boards, it's a team, and every single person has a very unique talent or knowledge that really makes up these boards as elected by you. So I want to make sure we understand that, we see how we are formed and how we do work together to improve the lives of all of our residents. So I will skip the part where Rod already gave about who I am and how I came to be and how I grew up here. I will add just to in kind of a little more context. My grandfather had a 5-acre ranch in Pedley, and I had the unique privilege of understanding and experience that unique type of lifestyle that is important to a lot of people in our community. We are a large city, and each thing that we're going to be focusing on tonight is that we are a community of communities. We have equestrian communities, we have urban communities, we have suburban communities, and we need to make sure that we understand that and try to protect them. So with that, I do want to make sure and make very clear that the city council and city staff are committed to protecting the distinctive traits that make each community special while unifying our residents and providing the higher quality of life to those who call Jurupa Valley home. But we can't do this alone. So we are fortunate to have great partners. And I know I keep harping on this, but I really want to really drive this home that even the city council can't do anything alone. Our great partners from Jurupa Unified School District, board members, raise your hands that are here. The Jurupa Area Park and Rec District. And I don't think I see anybody, but I'm going to say them anyway. Jurupa Community Services District and Rubidoux Community Service District, who provide our water and sewer. Very important that we have sewer. And I would be remiss to if I don't mention CAL FIRE, our wonderful first responders from CAL FIRE and the Riverside County Sheriff Department. All right, now, since the city's incorporation just 11 years ago, we've seen some exciting progress in key areas. So tonight, we are celebrating how far Jurupa Valley has come and how exciting what we have to come in the future. So with that, I am going to share some of that through some slides, give some explanations, and hope to give you guys a more broader view of what's going on around the city, around you. So with that, I'll get started. So, and of course, IT. All right, recently completed projects. The Vernola Marketplace Apartments Phase A. For those of you that may not know where these are at, this is at the Lowe's Shopping Center, which is in Jurupa Valley. It's about 400 apartments. Many of them are leasing, but this is an example of the most recently completed projects in the city. Now I'm going to go on to ones that are under construction. Much bigger list, and you're going to see that the list gets bigger and bigger as we continue to work, and kind of really a culmination of the past 4 years of what we've been working and striving to do. So Shadow Rock, for those that may not know, it's right over here past the 60 freeway. For some of us, we call it Rattlesnake Mountain. It's in between Armstrong and Rudo Boulevard. It's a little under 400 homes. And one of the things that we as a council have done repeatedly over and over is when a project comes, we look at not only how can we make that a walkable, livable community, we also look at the people who already live in the area and how can we enhance their life? How can we enhance where they live? And some of these projects that you'll see in this area are doing things like, and not this project specifically, but there's one right underneath it that is running sewer to neighborhoods that are on septic. This one specifically is actually going to connect Sierra to Pacific. And Pacific should open by next week to go over the railroad tracks, allowing a little of relief of congestion on Armstrong. Anyone that tries to go down Armstrong at certain times of the day, you're well aware that we need some relief on that congestion. So again, this is what that project brings. In addition, as Mr. DeGuid mentioned, it is going to have parks. And one of the cool things about this community is it has a zip line. So once it opens, it is a public park. Feel free to go and use the zip line and see how that goes. In addition, one of the cool things about this area is you see that rock face. That rock face is actually recognized and used by national organizations, and I believe some international, and they've asked, and JRPD is keeping it open for rock climbers. Rock climbers from around the country come to this specific place. So that will also remain active. And a lot of the residents, again, who already live in that area, really messaged me and a few others saying, please keep that open. They actually enjoy watching them while they're barbecuing in their backyards. So it's great. Paradise Knolls, for those that know, it used to be a golf course. A little brief history of Paradise Knolls. This project was approved in about 2016. It is originally approved for about 650 homes. Through continued work and continued cooperation from the council and the landowners, we are looking at probably ending with about 450. So there's been a really considered effort to reduce the amount of homes and also provide a public park for everyone to enjoy in the area, which is a very park poor area. Emerald Ridge South. So again, I'm going to keep harping on the public infrastructure enhancements, improvements for people who live here already. So for those that know this area, Canal Street, Avalon, it's off the 60 freeway, right underneath where Shadow Rock is. So we have Emerald Ridge South, which I'm going to talk about, which is under construction. And later in the slides, I'm going to talk about Emerald Ridge North. Both of them are on both sides of Canal Street. These projects will not only continue to add housing stock as we need housing, it will also help improve Canal Street, which is in dire need. For those that have ever driven down there, 2 cars driving down that road is a game of chicken. So I'm glad to have those improvements coming. Limonite Plaza, corner of Limonite and Felspar. We are getting ready to announce the tenants as soon as the property owner gives us the okay to do so. One thing you might hear as a repetitive theme is I'll probably mention that some of these have a coffee shop. You can guess who that might be. So we're going back to the Lowe's Shopping Center. And one of the things that I want to also emphasize is where you see us working on multifamily housing outside of our equestrian overlays, outside of our urban areas. This also works to attract business, to attract stores, to attract retail, to attract eateries that our residents continuously ask for and want. So Aldi's is probably the closest one to opening. They are getting ready to. They are at the Lowe's Shopping Center. This is one of our biggest projects that we've been super excited about. And for those watching online or any of you here who have seen about it or heard about it, yes, there's been a delay, but I can tell you that is a well worth delay. Hopefully in the next few weeks, we will be able to share all the tenants. This site plan was the approved site plan. Why we're saying it's under construction, because construction has started, but the site plan will change a little bit. There have been more tenants added. So you're going to have retail, eateries, gyms, and other good things that everyone wants. And we're hoping by the end of October, we'll be able to share most, if not all, the tenants. And I can guarantee you're all going to be very, very excited. So here's the renderings of what it looks like on the corner, a little food court. Again, the 2 that I can't share right now because it has been confirmed is there will be an Aldi's and there will be an EOS gym. The rest, this one also might have a coffee shop. So we're looking at this, and then I wanted to share about Caterpillar Court because it's going to tie in to another project called Rio Vista and tie back into what City Manager Rod Butler talked about. The Inland Empire Trade Tech Center. For those that know would know what that is or don't, I'm going to kind of briefly give an example of what they do. Is they train people to do work, to make things, to work on things, and that's the goal as we continue to move towards an automated workforce. Is we need to figure out how to train our residents for the jobs of tomorrow. So you will see that we've master planned the Rubidoux area away from the current homes to start doing light manufacturing or bioscience or life science or those kind of things where they make things right next to the proposed Trade Tech Center where people can theoretically be trained and then go right across the street and actually get a job. And that is the goal between the carpenters, steel workers, pipe fit, all those folks. And that's kind of the idea of that whole area, which I'll get more into details when we start getting to that specific plan. The Agua Mansa Commerce Park. This one I wanted to be sure we shared with you so we know the history of this project. On the top right, you'll see what that looked like before construction. While they were working on that site, and for those of you I know they brought out limestone for many, many, many years. It was a very special kind of limestone. So it was a very specific site, and most of that limestone was provided to the world. Until someone decided that they found a cheaper way to get down to the bottom, and they hit a vein of water. So they couldn't use it anymore. But while they were digging, they were digging up this stuff that they didn't know at the time what it was. It was this pink material, and they created berms. Well, it's now we know it's hexchrome 6, one of the deadliest compounds known to mankind. So everyone asks, why industrial? You can't put homes or retails or parks on top of that kind of stuff. So that's why we're having this. The other thing that I can add about this project is all around it. For those of you who've driven around there, Agua, Mansa, Rubidoux, El Ravino, Market Street, this project is improving all those roads. In addition, we put a parcel tax. For those that may not be aware what that is, every square foot of building they build will pay a tax to the city every year, and it will increase every year by 3.5% or CPI in perpetuity, which goes into a general fund to go into infrastructure for the Rubidoux area. And some of you guys might say, why hasn't this infrastructure work started yet? Because their buildings are not complete. A lot of it is based on certificate of occupancy. Once they get in there, they must pay these fees. In addition, we got a one-time community benefit of about $11 million. So once we get all that funds, we are going to start looking at infrastructure projects in Rubidoux. And this is just pictures of where it's at. Again, not done yet, but it is under construction. So entitled projects coming soon. Appaloosa Springs, and actually this one, as a few days ago, it might have already started. So this is behind the old Kmart, and I did want to mention that because a lot of people, whether online or here, I get a lot of questions about the old Kmart. Why isn't no one in there yet? Well, they still have an active lease, and they are paying on it. With this added housing and other projects in the area, we are working with the property owners to try to see if we can get Albertsons and them at an amenable process to allow someone else in. So again, with housing, with people, it attracts retail. The conversations are now happening. This project will also have trails around it to connect to existing trails, multi-purpose trails. And again, providing housing in an area that is matching the Clay Park area. So it's just a continuation of that type of housing. Earlier I talked about South. This is Emerald Ridge North. Same type of thing. They are going to significantly improve Canal Street. The Buren Marketplace, for those that may not know where this one's at, is on the left top right there. You can see it's Rutile and Van Buren. So some of you guys may have already seen some posts or some newsletters. The person that we can share because it became public is Vallarta Supermarkets. In addition to that, there will be other eateries, other retail shops, and a few other things in there. They recently got some of their needed permits, and we're hoping that they're getting ready to break ground soon. Tractor Supply, right down the street, Armstrong and Sierra. This one is actually getting to break ground in about a month or two, I believe. So as you can see, the main attraction, the main part of that site is going to be a Tractor Supply, and then it's going to have 2 drive-through type restaurants in the front. Might be a coffee shop, I don't know. The other one, so we saw earlier in the presentation that Vernola Phase A is complete. Well, there is still an actual parcel that was identified in our housing element between Phase A and the Lowe Shopping Center. So recently this has been approved and it has been entitled and should start construction probably within the next few months. So under review, the Rio Vista specific plan. So now you've kind of heard me talk about the Tractor Supply. You've heard me talk about Shadow Rock, Emerald Ridge North and South, and then the business park on top. So this encompasses everything in the middle of that entire mountain between Armstrong and Rubidoux, 900 acres. About 300 or more acres will be left to open space for people to go hike and that kind of thing. The rest of it is now proposed, and this was the original specific plan. And for those of you, those kind of colors and things is mostly housing. The new proposed is a mixture. So there's now a potential JUSD site, a potential JRPD site, and this is where the Inland Empire Trade Tech Center is proposed to be. In addition to that, because Riverside Community College District will be the ones managing it, we are also looking at potentially expanding it to a full community college in Jurupa Valley. So another proposed project under review For those that may drive down to the Low Shopping Center and you see that cornfield from Limonite all the way to Bellegrave. So currently there is an approved specific plan, SP 266 to be specific, and it consists of about 35-ish acres of retail, 20 acres, and right now I'm going to explain this photo, 20 acres of industrial, and the rest single-family housing. That's the current approved entitled from many, many years ago. The applicant is proposing that we change out the industrial with additional housing to meet our housing element, to meet our numbers in RENA that are required by state law, and also because generally speaking, this has become a very heavy residential community, and we just don't need industrial there. The commercial still stays. The single-family housing, we've actually worked with them quite a bit to create a very, it's really appealing community center in the middle with linear parks, traffic calming circles. They're not called roundabouts anymore, apparently. Engineers call them traffic calming circles now. But it's all that and a potential JUSD site. And that's kind of little renderings of what some of the little pocket parks might look like, some of the linear park, and some potential community gardens, etc. So we're going back to Paradise Knolls. The reason why we're going back to that is we want to make sure that our residents understand that Paradise Knolls was approved in 2016, but it was approved in a phased process. One of the processes went to our planning commission last night, and it has been the ongoing work to try to improve upon what was already approved. We can't, for those that may ask, we cannot just straight out deny what has already been approved, but we are working to improve it and reduce the density. And here's some renderings of what was approved. And this one probably the most, I get the most questions about. So the old Kmart, everyone know where the old Kmart is? Yes? On Limonite, Camino Real. So Sprouts and Harbor Freight are slotted to go in there. Some people ask, why has there been a delay? What's taking so long? Well, now we can share a little bit. On the bottom left, you'll see that they want to add another building in the parking lot. So that requires planning, engineering, everything else. We are very close. We hope to get a updated timeline from the property owners as soon as possible. And as soon as they submit their plans and are ready to go, we're more than ready to approve them and get them going. We want the Sprouts open and the Harbor Freight as fast as we can. Next one is the Marketplace at Bellegrave, right across the street from Jurupa Valley High School, is a proposed grocery outlet. And as you can see, they're proposing potentially a McDonald's and another either retailer or restaurant. Mission Village, for those that go really back, if you all remember Alpha Beta, where Alpha Beta was on Mission and Opal, I believe. So there is a proposal to tear down some of the current buildings and erect a brand new shopping center. So that is under review. We are working diligently to try to get those done and get them out to our residents. And the district at Jurupa Valley, for those of you who may have gotten a wonderful mailer recently. So this is a 250-acre site. For those that may know the name, it used to be referred to as Emerald Meadows Thoroughbred Racing Farm. The proposal is looking at a industrial component, residential, about 70 acres of retail, commercial hospitality like hotels and entertainment venues, and open space. Again, this is all under review. Nothing's been submitted or approved. Everything that I've talked about under review, nothing's been approved. And I did want to talk about some policy initiatives. And before I go to the policy initiatives, I want to tell you that that was a very comprehensive list, but it's not everything that we have in the works. I really want to let you guys know that that is not everything. We'd be here all day. We are growing, and we are growing responsibly as fast as we can. Anyone that wants to talk to us, please come out, talk to your council member. So, policy initiatives, truck intensive uses. What does that mean? The county, as you know, we incorporated in 2011. The county had a general plan, and not all uses were compatible with everything around it. And over time, every council that has sat on the dais since then has taken the chip at correcting some of those. And it's not errors. I won't call them errors because sprawl happens over time, and things that may have made sense 20, 30 years ago doesn't make sense anymore. What this council did, we took a very aggressive approach and put basically a moratorium and stopped everything that was a truck intensive use to allow our residents, stakeholders, everyone to bring input and say, where do these kinds of uses actually make sense? Because some of them were next to homes or parks that have been built over the years. So we did that. It was a very long, arduous process, and we're actually still not done. Some of these sites are still under the moratorium. And I think most of those are labeled in the yellow. Everything else has been released. And over about a year and a half time, we looked at it and are starting to change zoning to allow for things that are compatible with what's adjoining to them. So I just want to get you to know that we are looking at that and making sure that we're planning the city as a whole. Housing element update. So what is the housing element? For those that, if you've heard it on the news, you've heard it in papers, you probably heard me say it, heard other people say it. We do have a housing crisis. How we address that is open for discussion, and everyone has good input, and everyone's input matters. What is factual is that the state has implemented a housing element policy by law and RHNA numbers. RHNA is Regional Housing Needs Assessment. What that does, as a state, there's a bunch of groups at the regional levels, county levels that say Jurupa Valley needs to build. I should correct that. Jurupa Valley needs to allow for the construction of 4,700 homes over the next 8 years. And that is state mandated. Cities do not build anything. That's why I want to correct myself. Cities do not build anything, but we have to zone to allow for that. Norco had a couple hundred. Riverside, I think, had 18,000. Every city was looked at population, size, open space, etc. And every city in the state was allocated a number. And everyone had to meet that number by a certain time. And I can tell you, with our council and our wonderful staff, we were one of the under 10 cities in the state of 500 cities that had our housing element certified on time in accordance with state law. You may look up, if you want, Google it. There are multiple cities that have not, most cities, have not gotten a certified housing element, and they are starting to be sued by multiple organizations, including the state. And the state is not coming in and saying, we'll rezone for you. So I want to be very clear why it's important that we got our housing element certified. Inclusionary housing. In addition to having a housing crisis in the state, a lot of residents talk to me and they say, where is my kid going to live? Where is my grandkid going to live? So we know that our demand, especially in Jurupa Valley, because most of that I've talked about, Paradise Knolls, Shadow Rock, those homes are selling before they're even built. So we know the demand is much higher than our inventory. In addition to that, even when we do build them, as you guys probably have seen, Paradise Knolls, when at its highest recently, we're selling for $700,000. That is not affordable. So even if we're trying to catch up with demand, pricing is still out of reach for most of our kids. So we implemented, with the help of council and staff, an inclusionary housing ordinance. What that does now, it says every housing project that had not been approved at the time of the adoption of this ordinance requires that every housing project, there are some exceptions for like infill, small projects, but every large project either must build 7% affordable within the project or pay an in lieu fee to allow the city to work with nonprofits in a public-private partnership to build affordable housing where appropriate. And I believe we are the only city in Riverside County to have this ordinance. And I know a few other cities are now looking at it. Traditional neighborhood design standards. So as I keep harping on the housing element and the state overriding local control, and in some cases for good reason, again, it's a good discussion to have with everybody. We looked at how can we incentivize people to build single-family traditional homes in some of these areas while we still have the control to do so. Because every 8 years the housing element comes, every 8 years they tell every city how many more homes you must plan for. So the traditional neighborhood design standards allow some property owners to build certain projects by right if they adhere to these standards, which basically, in the best form, I can call them casitas. They're little small homes with yards to continue that traditional family kind of neighborhood that we really like in our city. So that's another policy initiative that we passed with the help of council. This one I'm sure everyone's super happy about, and I know that people that know about it. Salud. So gas station moratorium. One of the initiatives that we passed about a little over a year ago, maybe a little bit longer. We have about over 30 gas stations in the city of Jurupa Valley. Most of them, if you look at the map on the top left, are concentrated along freeways or along very, very urbanized communities. So what we did is said, let's stop and let's put a stop to old gas stations, and let's analyze it. And do we need any more? And if we do, where do they go? And if we even do find where maybe more can go, do we require them to do EV stations or other alternative fuel? So this is still ongoing, and it has not been in its final version yet. So look for it coming up on City Council. We would love your input. City staffing transition, as we said, we incorporated in 2011, and for many of those years, we were a contract city, so most of our employees were contractors. One of the big initiatives from this current council in the past 2 years, maybe over 3 years, was to start transitioning to city employees that work for you, that are invested in you. And we have definitely seen a change, a quick change, why you see so many projects under review, under planning, under construction. It's very important that we have people who work for you, who answer you. And if you give them a call or send them an email, you get a reasonable response in a reasonable amount of time. The Jurupa grade separation, for those that drive down Jurupa, you guys know, we're doing a grade separation. Very important to have that. That was identified the busiest at-grade railroad crossing in the county. That was one of 3 in the county. We were that one. It's a $133 million project. These are all state funds. No city can ever fund that. It is scheduled to be done somewhere between June to October of this coming year. The American Rescue Plan Act, for those that may not have kept up, was a bipartisan bill passed by our current Congress and signed by the president. It gave every city a certain amount of funds based on population size, et cetera, and other demographics. The city of Jurupa Valley got $28 million. So that's like a huge, huge windfall for our infrastructure, because every year we just chip away at it with our tax base that we have. And we have to find ways and creative ways to do infrastructure improvements, like development that I talked about in Emerald Ridge North and South, fixing canal, those kinds of things. So what the city council did is we actually took that 28 million and cut it up. 20 million is going into roadway infrastructure improvement programs. Some of them that I can share right now are Van Buren being widened from Limonite to the bridge, 3 lanes. Limonite from Felspar to Pedley being rehabilitated. Mission Phase 2, which is already happening if you go out there and see that. Bain Phase 2, finishing the rest of Bain Street. And Miraloma Phase 2, we've done everything north of Jurupa, most of it. Now we're going south of Jurupa and Miraloma. And that is just some projects. There are over 35 projects in the next 3 to 5 years that will start going into construction to improve our roadways. Broadband, I'm excited about this. You guys heard cybersecurity, IT, business intelligence. So we are allocating 2.5 million, and we're getting a state grant to match the 2.5 to put it up to 5 million. And what we're looking at doing is building a network backbone for our city. The potential is, it's the moon. We can either offer services to our residents in dead spot areas like Miraloma Village and other areas. We can look at creating our own traffic control system, which we don't right now. It is just so many things we can do once we get this network into place. We are going to make some improvements to City Hall. As you can see, energy backup, we don't have that. Energy saving upgrades, LED, that kind of stuff. Ultimately saving our city money, which means saving you money. We can put more into infrastructure. Housing crisis mitigation, that does go to things like homeless prevention or homeless aid. Affordable housing. We do have some crisis stabilization units in the city. We don't share where they're at, but they do help with people who are transitioning or on the verge of being homeless. We try to help them and put them in these units to try to help them get work, and they have been very successful. Direct resident assistance. This is not finalized yet, but we are looking at direct utility assistance. And then local economic assistance program. We started this during COVID, and it has been a very much requested service. These are for our local businesses who are here in Jurupa Valley. They have to be local small business owners. And then public safety services study. I do want to share that as we continue to look at how to improve quality of life, we are looking at how to increase that service, whether that means more deputies, which we have allocated more deputies, or whether that means allocating more services or authority to code enforcement, like writing citations or other things that really resonate with our residents and quality of life. In addition, we know that as we keep growing, we need another fire station. We are looking at a new fire station on the west side of town. More to come on that. So, with that, the city's financial state is strong, and we've adopted a balanced budget. This coming year, we actually project to have a $56.4 million budget, of which 45% is usually our sheriff budget. Our 2021-23 fiscal year, Public Works and Engineering are planning over 35 capital improvement projects with over $30 million invested in our city's infrastructure. So with that, I keep talking about roads, infrastructure, which roads, shopping centers, housing, places that will create jobs. The city is going to be in construction everywhere. So with that, I want to share that we really want you, as we continue to grow, as we continue to see things, please use the My Jurupa Valley app. You can submit issues like potholes, trash, things like that. As we continue to grow, as we continue to build, we want to make sure that we're keeping up with everything, and we need your help to do that. So please use that My Jurupa Valley app. It is available on Google Play or in the App Store. So as you can see, there are many accomplishments to celebrate, both completed projects and much more to come. The city has made great strides in supporting strategic projects and developments, technology advancements, and a stable financial state. Every year we continue to improve upon our reserves. Our reserves are important, but every year as well as we continue to grow, we have more money to put into infrastructure, which we do. And I want to make sure you guys are aware of that, and it is something that is a priority for your city council. But again, that is something that we can't do alone. It is not only partnerships with state and local agencies that are crucial to our city's well-being, it is the partnership of residents. All of you are part of this. All of you have a voice. All of you matter. So you are always encouraged, always, to reach out to us, to city staff, to join us at council meetings, commission meetings, workshops. We have many of those workshops. Please come out, email us, come to the meetings. After this, see us, talk to us. We really want to hear from you to make sure that we have everyone's point of view when we're making these decisions. So as we celebrate the past and look forward to the future, we hold tight to our mission, which is up here, to provide a continuously improving quality of life for the community through safe, ethical, inclusive, and responsible municipal services while maintaining our unique culture and character. And with that, I want to thank you all for being a part of this journey with us. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for your patience. I hope I didn't bore you. And with that, I will announce a video celebrating our community of communities.
You won't know where we're going unless you know where we've been. We sought solitude from the hustle and bustle of life and settled in communities distinctly of our own. Situated between the mountains and the beaches, made up of horse trails, ranches, and open spaces, a safe place to raise a family or open your business. We are Jurupa Valley. For generations, we've become a place to plant, to dig in our heels, to grow. We've come from humble beginnings to a thriving, diverse culture. It wasn't always easy, but the important things in life rarely are. We're a place of belonging and progress. Over 106,000 people call us home. Our obstacles have given us an opportunity to improve our circumstances, to create hope through kind hearts, generosity, and a willingness to get things done. Through tradition and innovation, old-fashioned values, and determination of will, the newest city in California was forged. With the vision to unite the community of communities by providing a healthier place to live, investing in infrastructure, improving public safety, and growing the local economy. A courageous and stable foundation has evolved during the first decade as a city. Preserving our land for generations to come is our aspiration, and together we can. We will stand strong on our solid foundation. There is value in the old and value in the new. The key is to protect the history while planning for the future that residents deserve. Now to you. No matter your past or your present, your roots may be deep or you may just be getting started. We welcome you. You belong here.
Thank you, Mayor Barajas. Hope you guys are all as excited as I am for all the new things coming to our community here. It really is a great time here in the city of Jurupa Valley. Speaking on behalf for the special districts, the school district, the water district, I just want to say how great the communication is between our agencies and city staff. It hasn't always been that way, and it's one of the reasons so many of these projects are actually coming forward now. And I think a perfect example, Mr. Barajas talked about the grade separation on Jurupa Road. We all understand how important that is. But one thing that was added was a equestrian-friendly path underneath Van Buren as well, providing a very needed equestrian east-west connectivity across Van Buren. We all understand how dangerous that is. And that was something huge that came about between discussions from the Park District and the city that may not have happened years ago under the county. So that's a perfect example of how we are all working together to improve the community. So that concludes the presentation for this evening. I want to invite everybody across the hallway to the cafeteria for some refreshments and meet and greet with city staff. I believe all the city departments have tables set up there so you guys can ask questions, get updates on various projects, more detailed that may be impacting you in your area. So thank you again across the hallway, and thank you for coming tonight. We also want to thank Nora's Flowers for the decorations across in the cafeteria. So thank you all for coming and have a great evening.